Welcome back to Enlightened Connections. I'm your host, Lisa Aston Michael. This is a solo episode, just you and me, where I'm inviting you into a thoughtful conversation around healing, intuition, and the unseen threads that connect us all. Hello and welcome back. Today's episode is a continuance of episode 9. And before we go any further, I want to acknowledge the courage it takes to return to this conversation. When family relationships are the source of harm, even listening can stir things in the body and the heart. In our last episode, we explored what it can feel like to experience harm from within your own family system. The confusion, the self-doubt, the grief, and the deep emotional impact of scapegoating and projection. That episode was about clarity, about naming what is happening and understanding why it hurts so deeply. Naming harm does not make you dramatic or divisive. It makes you honest. If you're here now, thank you for returning. And if this is your first time listening, you are very welcome here. This episode is about what comes next. It's about how to support yourself when these dynamics are ongoing or lingering. It's about protecting your emotional and physical well-being and slowly, gently beginning to reclaim your sense of self. So before we begin, I invite you to pause with me. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and exhale fully through your mouth. Again, inhale, allowing your shoulders to soften, and exhale, letting your body know it does not need to be on guard right now. So just allow yourself to arrive in this moment. You're safe here. You're allowed to listen at your own pace. You are allowed to pause, to step away, or to return later if you need. So let's move on. If this is happening now, if you are currently experiencing emotional harm, hostility, or scapegoating within your family, I want to say this clearly. Your experience is real and it matters. One of the most damaging aspects of family scapegoating is how it erodes self-trust. Over time, you may begin to question your perceptions, your memory, or even your character. That is not a personal failing. It's a common response to sustained emotional harm. The first step is to name the pattern internally. This doesn't mean confronting anyone or making announcements. It simply means allowing yourself to recognize what's happening without needing anyone else to agree. Clarity within yourself is the foundation of safety. Another important step is to stop over-explaining. See, when someone's committed to projecting blame or hostility, no amount of logic, kindness, or clarification is going to resolve it. Continuing to explain to yourself can actually deepen the harm and reinforce the dynamic. Your reality does not require validation from someone who is unwilling or unable to see it. And this can often happen with loved ones who are caught up in the middle. They just don't want to help. They don't want to see it because it's too painful and uncomfortable for them. So documenting your experiences can be deeply grounding. This is not about collecting evidence or preparing an argument. It's about anchoring your own clarity. Writing things down can help you see patterns, trust your memory, and reconnect with your inner knowing. As much as it is hugely important to trust your own intuition, your own self, your own heart, it is also essential to get external support. This could be a trusted friend, a therapist, a mentor, or a support group, someone outside the family system who has no connection or emotional bond, someone who can reflect your experience back to you with steadiness and compassion. Because healing rarely happens in isolation. And perhaps most importantly, practice self-compassion. If you're feeling grief, anger, fear, or exhaustion, there is nothing wrong with you. These emotions are normal responses to abnormal circumstances and behavior. So here's an anchor sentence I want you to think about and use. You do not need agreement to know your truth. Self-protection is not rejection. It is care. So let's now look at boundaries without guilt. Boundaries are essential when dealing with family harm. Yet, they're often the hardest thing to implement, especially when guilt's been conditioned into the relationship. Boundaries are not punishment. They are not ultimatums. And they are not acts of cruelty. They are acts of protection. Boundaries can be emotional, physical, digital, or energetic. They might look like limiting contact, choosing not to engage in certain conversations, stepping back from family gatherings, or deciding what personal information you no longer share. And distance, including estrangement, is sometimes necessary. I know that this can be an incredibly painful decision, and it's often misunderstood. Distance is not a failure. It's not giving up. It's often an act of survival and self-respect when repair is simply not possible. And when guilt arises, it can help you remind yourself of this. You are not responsible for managing someone else's emotions, reactions, or healing. You are responsible for your own well-being. So let's take a breath here. Notice if your body tightens at the word boundaries. If it does, that's okay. Gently remind yourself that boundaries exist to keep you safe. And here's an anchor sentence for you. Distance is a form of protection, not punishment. Boundaries show respect for your own dignity. Let's now take a look at step families and the blended family context. In step families and blended family systems, these dynamics can be even more complex. There are often unspoken layers of loyalty conflict, unresolved grief, competition for belonging, and unclear roles. When these tensions are not acknowledged or processed, scapegoating can emerge as a way for the system to release pressure. Children and adults alike may be unconsciously assigned roles, the peacekeeper, the problem, the outsider. So if you found yourself consistently positioned as the one at fault, the one who's blamed, or the one who's excluded, it's important to understand that this reflects the system, not your worth. These dynamics are rarely about one individual. They're about unresolved pain, fear, and imbalance within the family structure itself. So here's an anchor sentence for you. These dynamics are not your fault. They reflect unhealed wounds and relational complexity. So let's take a look at nervous system healing. Healing from family harm does not begin with understanding alone. It begins in the body. Because when stress is ongoing and relational safety is compromised, the nervous system adapts in order to survive. And this can show up as hypervigilance, anxiety, emotional shutdown, difficulty sleeping, or a constant sense of being on edge. None of these responses mean that you're broken. They mean that your body's been trying to protect you. Regulation happens in small, repeated moments. So let's take one now. Inhale slowly, imagining a gentle light filling your chest. Exhale, releasing tension, fear, or shame. Again, inhale safely. Exhale, release. As you practice this, you may notice emotions surfacing: anger, grief, sadness, or fear. These emotions are not problems to be fixed. They're signals, messengers that show you where boundaries are needed and where healing is beginning. Here's an anchor sentence for you. Healing begins in the body as much in the mind. Anger can be a guide, not a burden, when we honor it safely. And believe me, anger is a big one, because anger comes from fear, and fear is generated when you feel like you just don't belong, when you feel persecuted, when you can't understand why this is happening to you. So let's have a look at reclaiming self and what that means. As healing continues, a natural question often arises: who am I separate from this story? Family scapegoating can entangle your identity with roles that were never truly yours. Reclaiming self means gently disentangling from those projections. What was said about you is not the same as who you are. Reclaiming self may involve reconnecting with your values, your creativity, your voice, or your sense of purpose. It may involve grief, and it may also involve relief. This is where chosen family becomes especially important. And chosen family includes friends, communities, mentors, and connections that see you clearly and treat you with the respect you deserve. Belonging does not have to be inherited. It can be created. Turning pain into meaning does not mean excusing harm. It means allowing your experience to inform you how to live, love, and protect yourself moving forward. Here's an anchor sentence. What was done to you does not define who you are. Your story belongs to you, and you have the right to reclaim it. So, as we come to a close, take a moment to notice your breath again. Inhale gently and exhale fully. Healing is not linear. There's no set timeline, and there's no single right way to do this work. You are taking your steps at the right pace, even on the days when it doesn't feel like progress. It took me 23 years to get to this point. 23 years until I could feel safe and supported to share this with you. Fear of losing my loved ones, fear of having to start a new life that I didn't want to start, fear of leaving my family that I loved because of the ones that didn't love me, because of the hurt it caused the ones I loved. I felt guilty. Perhaps if I just removed myself, that would solve the problem. But it was never going to solve the problem because the problem was never me. So this conversation is a container, one you can return to, pause, or step away from as needed. You are in control of how much you take in and when. So after listening, you might choose to journal, rest, go for a walk, or simply breathe. Honor what your body and your heart need. And remember this: you are not weak for being affected. You are not broken for needing distance. You are human, and your healing is valid. Thank you for listening and for trusting this space. Please take gentle care of yourself as we continue exploring growth, connection, restoration, and healing. Much love to you all. Bye for now. Thank you so much for being here and tuning into Enlightened Connections. I truly hope today's episode offered you something to reflect on, expand into, or feel more deeply connected to, whether within yourself or with the animals and spirit world around you. If you enjoyed this conversation, please follow or subscribe to the show and share it with someone you feel may benefit from it as well. It's one of the most supportive ways you can help this podcast reach more hearts, more homes, and more animal lovers. And if you'd like to stay connected in between episodes, come join me inside the Enlightened Connections podcast Facebook community. I'd absolutely love to have you there. Until next time, take gentle care, stay connected, and trust the whispers.